Hi, welcome to my studio. I am going to be working on a few pieces that I've had for a few weeks now. So they are photopolymer etchings. So this part here, like the sort of detail, is photopolymer etching, which is basically where you expose an etching plate that has photosensitive coating on it. So whatever you expose on it, it comes out exactly as you intended. So I actually did a drawing with ink on some see-through material, mark resist, and then I exposed that. So I've got a nice drawing here to start with. When I put it through the press, I added chincolé, which is like sort of collage that you add when you put the print through the press. So I've got a little bit of colour there as well, a bit of texture already. And I've been working on these in my studio also for a couple of sessions. So adding a bit of monoprint here, some colour, adding a bit of colour here down in the walls. And today I want to just really have a go at finishing these off. So I've got a whole series of them, and I'm just going to be working on a couple of them now for you to see. Okay, so a lot of what I actually want to do is lighten up quite a few of these. So I'm going to actually roller on some lighter colour. So I've mixed a kind of really light purple here, kind of almost a sort of slight lavender, and I'm just checking my roller is oil free, which I think it is. I'm just going to roll that out, so I've got a really nice roller full of ink. So you can see I've got pretty even now. Okay, so I'm going to take this one first. So I actually really like these. I just feel that it needs quite a bit of lightness in the top there. So I'm just going to turn that around, and I'm going to roll straight on. Now this already has quite a few layers of ink on, so it's actually going to struggle to take this ink on the top a little bit. So I might have to I'm going to have to roll it out a lot thicker, like really gloopy. So let's have a go at that. I'll put quite a lot on there. Now normally I would say don't roll ink so thick that you hear that sound, that hiss sound, because that's too thick. But actually for this, where we really need to sort of get over the other layers, I'm going to suggest it. This already has quite a few thicker bits of ink on. So I would like to make that even a little bit lighter, so I'm going to put some more on. Always start with less and then go to more. That's probably the best thing, because if you slap too much on, you can't get rid of it. But you can always put more thin layers on. Okay, I want some more. I'm going to turn this around so it's a little bit easier for me to roll on. Some hair in my ink, which we don't want, unless that's your thing. There we go, get rid of that. Okay, I'll roll from this side now. So you can still see a little bit of the previous layers through it, which is quite nice. Just gives it a bit of movement and energy and history. And I'm going to put even a bit more on, which is quite unlike me. A bit more out. So I'm getting quite a nice kind of gently blended effect at the bottom here. I'll show you in a minute. So I'm starting to quite like that now. Just a bit more. It's still got the history of the marks behind it, but it's just lightened up the whole thing. So we're not just all one mid-tone. And I'm going to do a similar one for here. Now this has got the added extra of, it's got a nice little orange piece here, which I do want to keep. I don't want to completely lose that. So I'm just going to get myself a little bit more ink. I'm actually going to have to mix a little bit more. So I use oil paint, so I've just put a little bit more white out. And I'm going to add a bit more, just add a bit of the sort of lavender to it. It's really surprising how dark some of these colours come out on a print. So I've actually mixed 3 colours here, and these two are far too dark, so I've actually had to add a lot of white. You might be able to hear the rain on the roof of my studio. It's really raining hard here now. Okay, so I just use a cardboard spatula to mix up plain oil paint. It doesn't have to be really high quality oil paint. In fact, sometimes the lesser quality is quite good because it thins out nice enough when you roll it quite well when you roll it for printing. Okay, so let's roll a bit more of that out. Okay, now then. This is where I get a little bit afraid because I like quite a lot of this and I don't want to hide the bits I like. So it's quite good to start with one of your series that you dislike the most, because you are a lot freer then and you really get your hand in. But if you really like something, you always get a bit tentative. Okay, I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to turn it round. So I've got a bit more oomph in my roll. I'm actually really kind of liking, this is quite nice, this little area here where it's just got a little bit of the lighter ink on and then the other layers are coming through and it's lovely and transparent. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that, but I do like it. Let's see. I also like these streaks at the bottom here under the orange. So I'm going to try and keep those if I can. Okay, yeah, I'm liking that a lot already. I've lost a little bit of this transparency, which is a pity, but I think the overall thing is looking good. And it's also made me realise that I'd like to put a nice streak of blue in here, I think, as well. So I'm going to be doing that. Okay. And same again with this one. I don't want to lose this lovely orange line here, which was kind of a serendipitous line, but I do want to get rid of some of this mid-tone up here. So I'm going to have a go at that. A bit more ink. So in a way, this isn't printmaking, but what I do find is that I do often use a roller to apply colour because it's so lovely and thin. So it's kind of like, I guess, like doing a glaze in painting. You've got this lovely thin effect. And also the fact that you're rolling kind of adds an extra uncontrollable element, which I quite like. It takes things out of your control. So making sure I've got good even coverage. Now this has got Sheen Collé and Collage on, And where that sort of thin collaged paper is sort of buckled a little bit, is coming up on the print. So I'm not sure if I like that or not. I'm going to keep going a little bit. It's really got quite a texture to it, the surface of this print. And this is the point you get to when you've done so many layers and you've worked on it so much. It becomes more and more difficult to add pieces, add bits, without maybe collage or something like that. I think I'm going to try rolling down the page as well. I've got to be a little bit careful with roller marks when you do that. You don't want the roller marks. There's a patch here that's really stubborn. There we go. If you don't want roller marks, one thing you can do is just kind of gently with a tissue take the ink off each end of the roller, and you'll be a lot less likely to get roller marks. You'll get a nice soft edge to your marks. Okay, starting to like that one again. Right, and then we've got one here that I would like to have a little bit of. I'd like to have this sort of this part here a bit whiter, a bit lighter. So just trying to figure out the best way to do that. This is quite a. Okay, let's try a smaller roller. I'm going to use this one, and I'm just going to make sure it's got oil off, because I clean everything with oil. So that's fine, but what it means is sometimes you get a little bit of oil on the edges of your roller, and then you get oil on everything else, which isn't what we want. So there are several ways to do this. I could roll the ink out onto the surface and then monoprint. I think I'm just going to have a go first of all with just rolling it on with this smaller roller. I can always go over it with monoprint, or I could go over it with collage if I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around again. I've got a good gestural. Now I don't want to go over these nice marks here, so I've got to be a little bit steady here. Right, okay, I've made a mark I don't want to make just there. I'm going to rub it with my fingers to see if it blends in a little bit, and then see if I can kind of. Now this is creating quite a lot of roller marks, which I'm not so keen on, so just got to be a bit careful with that as well. Yeah, I'm really liking that actually. I'm glad I did that. It kind of has this nice look of really light coming through. Yeah, that was definitely worth doing. Oh, I've just noticed that there is some oil on there, which is very annoying, so I'm just going to gently dab that off with a tissue. So that is oil that's on the roller. And I think I'm just going to do one more go at that. Put a little bit of ink on the last of my ink. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to do with this piece here was to just get some highlights in here. So I'm going to use the same ink, and I'm actually going to just press onto the back of the print with a knife or something like that to get some just nice lines to pick up on this dark area here and just bring it all up a bit. So I'm going to use this ink here, why not? It's already rolled out. It's going to make some space. Okay. Now I've already done this because I did a little bit of work like this. I don't know if you can see, but I've just penciled. I held the print up to the light on a window and I just penciled in the shape or the area that I want to add the highlights to, so that I don't go over that area, because when I put this down I can't see through it. I can't see exactly what I'm doing. So just hold it up to the light. You can usually see through the paper once you've held it up to the light. And just get myself a implement of some kind. So I'm going to just use this. I've got a bookbinding tool actually, but it's just quite nice and sharp. And I'm just going to press into the back. You might only need a couple of these just to bring the whole thing up. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Now, I'm not sure I love those. I might take those down a little bit. So the way I tend to do that is get a piece of, you do it a couple of ways, but you can get a piece of paper and essentially just press onto the paper, just show you that, to take some of the ink away. That's really highlighty, that's very, just a bit too much for me. Okay, and the other thing you can do, so I really want these specific bits that I've gone over a bit, I'm just going to really rub into the back of that paper to get it off. Yeah, that's coming off quite nicely now. So there are ways to, you can be quite spontaneous and then save things if they go a little bit wrong. And you know, I'm even going to make that a little bit darker just with, it's going to go with a pencil actually, just to pick it back up again because I've lost it a bit and it's a really nice part of it. Okay, now do I want to add more to that? I'm going to give it another go. I'll probably just put the edge of it on. Just thinking if I can find something thinner. Just use a biro actually. Take a biro. Press quite lightly there. Okay, yeah. I quite like that. It just brings up that part of the image. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'll probably do a little bit more work, probably drawing into these a little bit to give some darks and a little bit more interest.